Hey, 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 it's Tia, baby, and I am back with another video. So I hope you guys had an awesome Thanksgiving. I hope you guys ate lots of food, spent time with your family, even though things are changing because of, what's going on now. But it's that time. So in about 45 minutes, in some parts of the US, and maybe in the other part of the US, it's maybe going on right now, but Netflix will be uploading the new Selena series part 1 at midnight. So not mark your calendars, because you've been doing that, but get your popcorn ready, your tea, your whatever you eat or drink when you watch movies, and check out the series. And I will give my opinion about part 1 after I watch it, and then I should upload a video about it tomorrow. So, or later on today, depending on how long it takes, for me to configure everything. But this video is going to be about an article that a supporter sent me, and it was in regards to the finances between the Quintanilla family, Chris Perez and Selena. So according to the article, allegedly, Abraham Quintanilla has been cheating out funds from Selena when she was alive. And it seems as though Chris is pending allegedly a case against Abraham, and it's supposed to allegedly happen in February 2021 to, monitor the funds that he was getting from Abraham to make sure he has not been shortchanged. So this is according to this article that I am about to hit with you guys. So according to Billboard.com, 2 months after the murder of Selena Quintanilla Perez, a Harvard-trained lawyer drove 140 miles from San Antonio, Texas to Corpus Christi, where Selena was living at one point with her husband, next door to her parents. So he has summoned, the lawyer allegedly summoned by Selena's father, Abraham Quintanilla Jr., who wanted to ensure that his hold on his daughter's career, he's been managing since she was in grade school, so would continue after her shocking death. So like I said, basically he was conversing with this alleged lawyer to make sure he was still receiving money even after, her demise. Of course. And this is all allegedly. To the end, Quintanilla had asked the lawyer to draft an estate properties agreement, the document that allegedly he had Chris sign over his rights. And this is to preserve the family band's profit sharing agreement and kept him in charge, endowed with executive authority to exploit Selena's name, voice, signature, photograph, and likeness, in etc. And so, like I said, this is the document that allegedly that he had Chris sign over, so allegedly Abraham can have all the rights to Selena's brand, everything. So allegedly 4 signatures Quintanilla needed. 3 were given his wife and their 2 other musician children, Suzette and AB. The only wild card was Selena's widower, Chris Perez, the band's quiet, guitarist, who eloped with Selena a few years earlier to to overcome her father's objections to their romance. Of course, I talked all about that in all my videos, so check it out if you haven't. Okay, allegedly, Selena had left no will. Of course, she was only 23. Why would she even think about writing one? Who at 23 writes, think about doing a will? So anyway, Chris potentially stood to inherit everything that was hers, which is a given. He was the husband. And like I said, that I feel is one of the reasons why, Abraham was, allegedly didn't like Chris even more now that he was married. And I did mention something like this in my other videos where, because he has the control, now that they are married, Abraham doesn't have any type of real control over Selena's livelihood because now she has a husband and the husband is the first in line. That's just how things go. So by law, if something were to happen to the the living spouse is the one that usually gets everything, especially if the deceased spouse did not leave a will or a prenup or anything like that. Because none of that happened, legally, Chris gets everything. But of course, allegedly, Abraham beat him to the punch and, went to court, talked to his lawyers, allegedly, and got all his documents, to have Chris sign. So let me go on. Everything Chris allegedly potentially had stood to inherit everything that was hers, including revenue from a trove of entertainment properties such as number one hits Amor Prohibido and Bitty Bitty Bum Bum that would prove more valuable in death than life, which it has. Unfortunately, because we all wish she was here. But unlike Quintanilla, which I mean Abraham, who had the foresight even in his grief, to retain a lawyer and begin planning planning her career. Perez says he was barely functional, which is a given. He just lost his wife. He's not thinking about money. He's not thinking about the next steps. He's thinking about Selena and the fact that he just lost her. But Abraham, the father of Selena, allegedly, he pushed his grief to the side, if he even had any grief, and he went to talk to lawyers to get documents, ready, allegedly, to have Chris sign so he can take everything that was Selena's, allegedly. Greedy and preposterous. It's just crazy. He couldn't eat. Of course, it was in his book. He couldn't eat. He was sleeping in the king-size bed that him and Selena shared. And he said, allegedly, that it was complete torture. Because, of course, it's a constant reminder that Selena is not there with him. So, every time he sleeps in that bed, it's an empty spot. So, that's torture. And I recall in another video I did that allegedly Suzette said in an interview that, even though they all felt the loss of Selena, but that at the end of the day, they all have someone to go home to kind of ease that pain. She had her husband and her kids. AB had his wife and his kids at the time. Their mother had Abraham, but Chris had Selena. But when he goes home, Selena is not there. So he has the heavy load. So yeah, let me go on. He numbed the pain with drugs and drinking. Of course, I said that before. In an effort to honor Selena's memory and to distribute her entertainment property in a friendly and fair manner, Quintanilla allegedly offered Perez a 25% share of the net profits. Now, in my opinion, I don't feel like 25% is enough because at the end of the day, he is still the husband. And I felt like, and even I said in the beginning of, this video, that he by law and legally, he gets everything because for one, Selena did not have a will, and two, she did not have a prenup, I don't think. So allegedly. So really, to be honest, he gets everything, not 25%, everything. But of course, Chris, the genuine person that he is, he not thinking about money. He not thinking about greed. He's not thinking about that. He's thinking about how he's going to live the remainder of his days without the love of his life. That's what he's thinking about. He don't care about all that. And allegedly, I feel as though, in my opinion, I feel like Abraham knew that. He took that vulnerability that Chris had, he manipulated him, in my opinion, into signing over all this because he knew that Chris wasn't in his right mind. And I'm like, I'm gonna get him while he's down so I can take everything. Because at the time, Chris didn't know how much power he had. He had the power over Abraham because he was the husband, but he's not greedy. He's not manipulative. He wasn't the person that Abraham pictured him to be. He wasn't that person that was going to take advantage of Selena and her career. He wasn't like that. So he wasn't even thinking about, well, I need to get this, I need to have this, I get all this money. Chris wasn't thinking about that, but I see Abraham was. Come on now, red flags. That's why I said in earlier videos, I feel like Abraham, in my opinion, allegedly had something to do with her death. Because how are you a grieving father rushing to courts and talking to lawyers, trying to scramble up some documents to have all your rights to Selena and make sure your money don't stop because she passed, and taking money and food out of Chris's hands? That's not fair and that's not right. 25%, because according to this article, Selena was worth between $6 to $9 million at the time before she died. She was worth $9 million, I think between $6 to $9 million. 25% of that is chicken scratch. It's probably about $300,000. Come on now. Okay, so also that was the same percentage. So 25% is what Selena was receiving when she was alive. What? But see, it was said that Selena allegedly wasn't really good at handling money. That's why she had, her father handle all of that. But she let her father take advantage. And then she didn't I don't think she, knowingly, let him take advantage of her. But he knew what he was doing. The fact of the matter is, this is the breadwinner. Selena's the breadwinner. She's the one that's making all of this money for everyone. Why is she only getting 25%? She should be the one that should make the decisions to disperse who gets what, how much, and all of that. She should have been that person, but she gave her manager, her father, the right to do that. And of course, he took advantage, in my opinion, because she was actually the last person to get the last bit of the earnings. Crazy. So he offered him 25% of the share of the net profits in exchange for knowingly acknowledging his ownership of her music, image, and rights. So basically, he basically said, allegedly, I will give you 25% of Selena's earnings and all of that, of the money, in exchange for me to take over her brand. Because technically, Chris could have done that because he was the living husband. So, where the document said attorney for Christopher G. Perez signed and wrote none. I don't know what none mean in this circumstance. I'm assuming he, didn't want nothing else to do with it. He just wrote, signed it off and said, hey, I don't want nothing else to do with it. I mean, at the time, his mind he wasn't mentally all the way there. Not like he was crazy. He was just grieving. He was in shock. He was sad. He was depressed. He wasn't thinking about that. So when everything happened, and this is according to Perez. When everything happened, I mean, in my mind, what it felt like is it was over for me. Perez, recall, I'm done. I have nothing. What am I going to do now? So 25 years later, that once confidential 1995 agreement has become Exhibit A in a family drama over the right to bring the Grammy-winning Mexican-American singer story to the screen. When Netflix releases Selena the series on December 4th, which is in 30 minutes, it will be because the Quintanilla family blessed and executive produced the show. It's a super incredible story of the resilience of never giving up, and of being true to yourself and of your loving family and working with your family. And this is according to the president of Campanario Entertainment, the series producer. So, and it also says that, but Selena, the series also exists at least in part because Quintanilla silenced Perez, which means, of course, we all know he did not include Chris in this series. He did not call him up. Nobody from their camp called him and said, hey, do you want to have any input in this series? Nothing. They did not contact him. 2 years before Netflix greenlight the series, Perez announced a deal of his own, and we all, know about it, that he was trying to do his own series based on his book, Selena with Love. But, of course, within 2 weeks of Perez's 2016 announcement, Abraham had dusted off that estate agreement and sued him in the same county that Chris and Selena were married in, Nucas County, Texas, for unauthorized exploitation of Selena's image through a lawyer. Quintanilla declined to comment for this story, but in court papers, he insists that the lawsuit was necessary to protect the value and integrity of the estate and prevent Perez from severely diluting and diminishing Selena's legacy. How was he going to do that? That doesn't make any sense. That is not even in his MO, obviously, because he didn't even take the money that he was well deserved to have when she passed. You did. So, and then like I said last time, you're doing the same thing that you accused Chris of doing. So you're basically in my opinion, severely diluting and diminishing Selena's legacy, because you're sitting up there making a series that you shunned and shut out the person that actually brought it to your attention, allegedly, and you're getting all this money while this person who had the idea, who talked it over with you and wanted to, work with you, and you didn't even contact him. You gave him the cold shoulder, and now he's suing you, allegedly. So, yeah. Let me go on. Though it never made the news, he also alleged that over the 25-year period of their agreement, he had paid Perez at least $3 million in net profits. Bullshit. Because if Selena was making, I'm sure she was doubling how much I'm sure Selena's worth has doubled since she passed. But before she passed, she was worth about 6 to 9 million, and they were only given 25%. So between Chris and Selena, they were only given about 300 and something thousand a year. Not a year, 300 and something thousand out of that profit, allegedly. How is he only getting 3 million in profits? I doubt it. And he said that Perez regularly accepted and retained, allegedly. With the lawsuit hanging over his head, Perez watched his TV deal expire. Then in a previous unreported counterclaim, he alleged that the 81-year-old patriarch had lured him into signing the agreement at the depths of his despair. And I feel like that is true, allegedly. A time when Perez was most vulnerable, and I just said that, and susceptible to Abraham's deceit, I feel like he used him. He used his vulnerability, and he used his, he manipulated him because he knew that he was already down. Let me get him. Let me beat him while he's down. Perez maintained that the agreement is therefore void, and he should be free to chronicle his marriage to Selena however he chooses, and he should. especially now that Abraham is allegedly being sued for the same thing that Chris is doing, and they still putting out that series in less than 30 minutes. Then Chris needs to come on and get this series up and popping now. But should the agreement be deemed valid, Perez has demanded an audit of Quintanilla's finances to ensure that he has not been cheated out of his 25%, which I did talk about in the beginning of this video, that allegedly with Netflix premiering the Selena series soon, very, very soon, literally, the trial is scheduled for February 2021. And this is according to Perez. I just want to handle this in the best way I can. And along the way, remember that she would want me to. So, yeah. Like I said, from all of this is alleged. I'm not saying this is all true. This is alleged. So, yeah, it seems as though he was cheating, Selena and Chris out of money when she was alive, allegedly. Which I've said in a video before, where when she was getting her sponsorships, getting paid for sponsorships, allegedly, it was split 4 ways. The band would get their share. The family would get their share. He would get his share. And basically, Selena would get the last portion of it. And I felt like that was not fair, because the sponsorship money is separate from the money she was making with the band. The sponsorship is all her. So I feel like all the money should have gone to her. And if she chose to split it, then that should have been her decision. But I wasn't there, so I can't say, all of that. But that is my opinion. I gave some of my views and my opinion based on this article. And I just hope that, now that this series is literally about to come out very, very soon, in minutes, and even though allegedly, Abraham and Suzette is allegedly getting sued for breach of contract, and they still putting out this series, then that means Chris should get the green light for putting out his series, because for one, he has every right to, because according to him, and allegedly according to this article, Abraham manipulated Chris into signing that document when he was down and out and depressed and grieving. And took advantage of his despair. So I feel like he should, make that happen, in my opinion. But all this is allegedly. I will come out with another video to give my commentary on part 1. I hope you guys tune in to the series, and I will tune in as well. And I will get back with you with another video. Peace.